Some time ago I've changed the thermal paste on my PS4 Pro and now it sounds like a jet engine, as you can hear. So either I spreaded the thermal paste in a wrong way, or it has the problem of most of the PS4 Pros that when you tighten the clamp it will spread out the thermal paste from the center of the chip. By that it starts doing a direct contact on the evaporator and it overheats. This is what I think it happened. Currently the console is running the Horizon Zero Dawn game and the exit is going at 45-44 degrees Celsius, as you can see. This is not much, but as the console is blowing like a jet engine, we will need to open it and see what happened exactly. Let's then remove the top cover by pulling and pushing it to the back. So after that we will remove the Torx security screws that we have on the power supply unit. We remove the back screws that are exactly the same as the ones we have on the PSU, and then we just lift the cover up and pull it back so it can be easily removed. Once that is done, we have access now to the cover inside, the metal cover, which we will need then to remove the security screws that attach the PSU unit in place. So let's flip the console and remove the power supply. Once the power supply is removed, we need to detach this little cable from the board. I usually take it from the power supply because these are known to rip the connector off the board. And now we remove the remaining screws from the bottom of this console in order to reach out to the motherboard. When all the screws are removed, let's take out the hard drive and the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth cables. Let's then remove this board and expose our motherboard. Now let's remove the 8 screws from the clamp cover. With that done, let's then lift it. There's a little gap that we can put our fingernail on and pull it upwards in order to remove it and see the clamp. As you can see, I have replaced already the thermal pads. The old ones were a bit worn out. You can see that on the video that I linked on the beginning of this video. We now remove the clamp by detaching the screws in a diagonal style, so the pressure is uniform on this clamp. Lifting the motherboard up, we remove it to reveal our thermal paste. This is Arctic MX4, as you saw on the thumbnail, and as you can see it has that exact problem that I've mentioned. It pulled out all the paste from the chip to the sides. This is why it was blowing like a jet engine. We will now remove this remains of thermal paste with a cotton swab and some IPA. We will need to leave it as clean as possible so that then we can place our Thermal Grizzly carbon pad on place, so making sure that all this area is clear out of thermal paste, otherwise it may stick to it and will not do the proper effect we need it to do. As you can see, it's shiny. We'll do exactly the same on the evaporator, on this copper area. So let's now unpack this Karbonaut Thermal Grizzly carbon pad that we will use on our chip. This is a little bit tight to open. It is very well sealed, and inside we will find then a little box and the instructions. The instructions surprisingly are written in Portuguese from Portugal, which I find it very, very nice. So if you want to read it, pause the video here if you know Portuguese. If not, it is just instructions on how to place it. And here you have the certificate of origin. This we will test it on the end of the video. And we have the remaining languages on the instruction booklet. And here inside our cardboard box of Thermal Grizzly, we will then have our carbon pads that we'll place on the chip. So here we have it. It is in between these two sponges, and this is the little carbon pad that we need to place on our chip. As you can see, it's very flexible. It seems like rubber, but it's not. It's very strange to touch, and it fits right in place. In the instructions it says that we should cut it to the size of the chip, but I don't see where that's necessary here, as it fits the space exactly where it should. Let's also put some thermal pads on this HDMI chip, because I read somewhere that this is recommended to do. So let's do it. We have nothing to lose on there. So let's just do the cuts on the size that we need and put it in place. And now, to put it back in place, we cannot use the traditional way of just putting the motherboard in place. We now have to put the chassis on top of the motherboard to make sure that our small thermal pad does not roll out of place and then it is not doing its job properly. Let's pass this little cable through the hole that it needs to go through to reach the power supply unit. And then we attached the motherboard to the chassis as best as we can in order for the thermal pad to stay in place and do its job. With that done, make sure to pressure a little bit and do a quick turn so that we have it in place. Now let's put all the cables back, put the clamp, and we will then close the console and do a quick test to see how's it going. On the clamp, make sure to tighten it diagonally so that it tightens the evaporator closer to the chip as possible. That's on the instructions, so make sure to do a good pressure on it. If you have to bend it a little bit, do it. You won't lose anything on it. So our room temperature is at 24-25 degrees more or less, and we will use this little probe to put it on the exit of the hot air for our console. So the fan is on the left side of the console, in this case in front of me to my left, and then the air will be going out where I placed the probe. Let's now turn it on and see what happens while running the exact same game, Horizon Zero Dawn. I started to hear the fan, but nothing as it was before. So let's now log in into our account on the PlayStation, and let's run the game Horizon Zero Dawn, as I mentioned before, so that we have an accurate representation of the temperatures as it was on the beginning of the video. So I will fast forward the video a little bit while the game is loading. As you can see, it's starting up and the temperature is also rising up. So let's see what happens now, if it is still a jet engine or if it's quieter. So the temperature is rising a little bit, now on 40 degrees. I will now try to engage in a fight on the game to see if the console moves a bit more on the graphics end, and we can see that the temperature is now rising to the 45 degrees that it was on the beginning of the video, although the sound, it's nothing compared to what it was, so no jet engine so far. I will now remove the sound of the game so that you can hear that the fan is not blowing like a jet anymore, and the temperature is a bit higher than it was on the beginning of the video. So why does this happen, you ask? Because when the thermal paste was spread out to the side, it stopped doing a contact between the chip and the evaporator, which made the chip not transfer the heat as efficiently as it should to the evaporator, which meant that there was not enough heat transferring to the evaporator and to the back of the console. Now that is happening. The chip is now transferring the heat properly to the evaporator, and like that the temperature rises on the back, but the fan is blowing much quieter. This is the reason why you need to always have a good thermal paste, or in this case this carbon pad on the chipset. As you can see, in terms of efficiency, it is very good. I bought this on AliExpress, where most of the things you buy are normally fake. This one is not. I'll show you that on the end of the video with the origin certificate. And if you want to buy it, follow the link that I will have on the description. And if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, follow the channel, give me a subscription so I can continue to give you more videos like this. See you on the next one.